our MSW students, dear faculty members, and the guest speaker of the day, Mr. S. Francis Edison. After a long gap, right? After, I think a month, right? We had an hectic schedule of having examination. You all know that the government of Tamil Nadu and the we are as announced that we need to have an examination as per the direction of the UGC, and therefore we have been having a series of examination for the final year that's outgoing MSW students and PG diploma courses, and after that and in between also we had an admission of first year MSW. So therefore we are not able to have a frequent of meetings. So that's what, after a long gap, we are organizing this program, and I hope that we will continue to have such a special lecture and webinar in the upcoming days too. So today, my dear friends, the participants, today we are going to have a very good that is more than 40 years of experience in the field of HR, and he is going to, as you can see this PPT, that the topic of the today is the Building and Other Construction Workers Regulation of Employment and Conditions Service Act 1996, and followed by the Central Rule of 1988. It is generally, it is not only for the students of HR, even the, almost who are working with the construction workers or who are pursuing their research in the field of construction workers will definitely be enlightened with the lectures of Mr. Francis Edison. And Francis, as just I welcome you, sir, on behalf of the Department of Social Work and Bharathasan University. A warm welcome to you, and I also welcome the senior most colleague and Professor Ilungu. I think he'll be shortly joining us to this program, and I also happy in welcoming my own colleagues, Dr. Jerida Nanajeljo, Dr. Nirmala, and Dr. Rajavel, and our guest faculties. You know that they are the pillars, and they have been doing a tremendous work for the development of the department. Dr. Suresh Kumar, Dr. Karthikeyan, and Dr. Selvamani, and along with that, the second year and first year students also are there with us, and we are happy to announce that we have almost 40 students have joined for this MSW program. So there was I would say that there is heavy competition for the MSW program. So we are able to accommodate only 40 students. So therefore, all the 40 students have joined this program, and also our present second year MSW students also is there. I also welcome both the first year and second year MSW students, and also the other participants. I am happy to see that many outsiders also have joined, because they are the real people who have been helping us during the lockdown period. We had around 18 programs, webinars. So there was a tremendous response from the different sectors all over the country, and not only all over in India, even from abroad also there was a huge participation from the various people across through virtual mode. So once again, I welcome you all to this great, this program after a long gap of almost more than a month. And as I ensure you that we will continue to have such a program in the ensuing days. And today, speaker, just I'm happy to introduce today's speaker, Mr. S. Francis Edison, very senior and veteran social work professional in the field of HR. And he is graduated from the St. Joseph's College, in 1978, and he had his subsequently had his postgraduate diploma in business administration in 1980, and he did his PG, MA Social. In those days, it is not called as MSW, it is called as MA Social Work. He is an alumni of Loyola College from 1981 to 83. And after that, and the later stage, he also did his MSc Psychology in Madras University. And he had a very, 37 almost, as I told you, 37 years of experience in the field of HR. So almost you can see that many people's age, average, if you take an average age of all the people, it might not be even 37, right? So that's such a great experience. The personality is Mr. S. Francis, and apart from the experience in the HR field, he has also had a good experience in the marketing field. And presently, he's owning a company called APT HR Solutions, and he's the managing director of that particular company. And almost he has been working with he is owning that company for the past 18 years. And I'm happy that he has also penned a book on Mother Teresa, Ennidam Varangal, a Tamil book. So that's a great sign of a good. And the last but not the least thing is that he is being now presently the research scholar of the Department of Social Work. Right after putting in a lot of experience, almost 40 years of experience in the field, and he is pursuing his PhD. As I told you yesterday, I think many of your students have witnessed his presentation on the field research field on the welfare aspects of construction workers in Bharathasan University, and he is about to complete his PhD, and most probably by 2021 he'll be when he comes back to the department, I hope that he'll be a doctor. Yes, Francis Edition. With this few words, once again I welcome our resource person of the day, Mr. S. Francis, our faculty members, and both the first year and second year MSW students, and the participant. And I wish that you should have a very good learning experience. And also you can just get all the doubts cleared from Mr. Francis Edition related to the recent development in the building and construction workers. You know that how the situation after this COVID-19 situation, the exodus situation, where they are in a dire straits of and they have been put in lot of troubles and all those things. And definitely, I hope that you will be having a good learning experience today. So with these few words, let me hand over the session to Mr. Edition for his valuable inputs on the topic of the day. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mangaleshwaran. You have given a very vast experience, my vast welcome and warm welcome to me. And see, still I am student for you, sir. I am in the department. I am a research scholar. So I humbly accept your welcome. But all other things, let me be worth for it. During this presentation, I see a lot of learned professors are participating in this program. Dr. Nirmala, Dr. Jedida, and Dr. Suresh Kumar, and other faculty members are also participating in that. So that gives me a lot of encouragement to be with you all. See, I have been spending past 3 days in the department. So I thought, let my experience be shared with our students. That will be more useful for them. And in that process, I requested our head of the department whether I could spend some time with the students. he immediately accepted and he has given me this opportunity. Sir, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to be with you today and sharing my experience with our juniors, junior professionals. They are going to be the junior professionals in HR field. So I am happy to be associated with my junior professionals. With this, I just want to go into the presentation part. There's a lot many people are whenever we think about construction or building, seeing the building, construction activities when they are taking place, immediately we associate with the activity into prosperity, development, and growth. You can see the growth of a city, or you can see the growth of any particular location if the skyscrapers are coming into various infrastructure is being developed. The town is called modern town, modern city. When the universities are coming into that, it has become a university oriented town. So like this, so many activities, building and other construction activities are taking place. It is always considered as prosperity, growth, and development. No doubt this construction industry, if it is good and if it is in a well-knit way, it gives a major economic growth for the nation, and almost 150 activities related construction activities, those many industries are developing. When the construction industry is developing, along with that, modern equipments like AC and washing machine, all these electrical equipments, these companies are also progressing, these companies are also developing. So that means the construction industry has to be taken care nicely, and that if it is a growth is there, the infrastructure growth will lead to other growth in the city, country, and economic growth. Now this, with reference to the Building and Other Construction Workers Act, which is also dealing with the regulation of employment and conditions of service. It is a very important enactment, because before 1996, this BOCW Act, the building and other construction activities are considered as just a building construction. No proper regulations were there. Only the building approval will be there, and then Contract Labor Regulation Act will come into play, and through contract labor regulation activities, the labor welfare or whatever little they have done to the labor, it was there. The industry as such, it was not regularized properly. Why it should be regularized and why the employment has to be regularized? Because every industry should be regularized for safety measures. It should prevent this construction industry also taking or having a lot of accidents. This is an accident prone industry. So it has to be regularized to provide prevention of accidents. Then only the human life value will be understood. So we have to provide safe environment for the working people. The same working conditions has to be given. Working place should be protected, and it should give conducive power to the employees to give a productivity. It also take care of the people and environment. If the gas leak is there, we all see how the environment pollution is there. So like that, and construction activities, when it is taking place also, there are a lot of pollutions. So the preventive medical system or preventive medical fitness have to be evaluated for the people who are employed. And it should give a human dignity when the employee or worker are working in the organization. It should protect the human dignity and equal treatment between the men and women. So the human dignity has to be protected. The labor involved in the industry has to gain proper acknowledgement and proper recognition. So with all these things, the construction activities were going on before this 1996 BOCW Act. None of these activities were given so much importance in the construction related activities. When the accidents are taking place, nobody is scared. When the say unsafe condition prevailed, not much given importance were given, and more or less the workers are treated something like slaves, and they have to come and work. Once the work is over, they have to leave the place. So that type of conditions were prevailing. So the BOCW Act introduction itself, it's a revolution, and it has given a lot of respect to the industry and the people who are working in that. So that is a very marvelous way of recognizing these unorganized workers. So this act started in 1996, and 1990 till 1998 the rules were not framed, and 1998 the rules have been framed, and that the BOC Act came into existence into the industry. In Tamil Nadu, we were looking at this building and other construction activity covers safety, health, and welfare of the workers. The safety, health, welfare of the workers are three important major objectives of this act: to regulate employment conditions of service, to provide safety, health, and welfare of the employees, and safe environment, and health is a preventive health approach through medical checkup. And these building construction workers, social security also thought about in through this act. Okay, where it will be applicable. Before that, I'll come into the I'll mention about the rules which are all prevailing in Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, much before this act, we were having welfare board in the name of Murai Sara Tholilalargal Nala Variyam. Murai Sara Tholilalargal Variyam were taking care of so many other unorganized workers' welfare, and later on it is introduced for them Kattumana Tholilalargal, that is, construction workers also involved to gain more and more welfare aspects from this Murai Sara Tholilalargal Nala Variyam. And later on, the name has been changed to Amaipu Sara Tholilalargal. So these are all the things, the names were changed. And because of this, we got into the implementation of this act very later part. Till 2006, we were not participating in this welfare aspects of it, whereas the safety and health aspect of it we have taken, but welfare aspects we have taken only during 2006 acceptance, and 2008 Tamil Nadu government framed rules, and after that now the welfare aspects given to the construction workers welfare board. So that has taken care of the welfare aspect, and this safety and welfare was given to the labor department. Initially, it started with the labor department. During 2013, you must be knowing a major accident took place in construction field in which the 11-story building collapsed. And because of that, well, a lot many people died, but finally it was accounted only 34 bodies we were able to take it. And during this rainy season, this work, unearthing work has been done, but they were not able to do it beyond that certain time. So it was the digging up work was given up, and finally it was declared only 34 workers died on that particular collapse of that building. This particular thing brought in a lot of awareness to the government and the labor department. So these construction activities are two very technical aspects, and for these technical aspects, giving responsibility to the labor department will not work out. So they have decided to hand over the safety and health aspect of the responsibility to the Joint Director, Industrial and Safety Department. Now we are having a Joint Director, BOCW Act separately, and which is attached with Safety and Industrial Department of Industrial Department. So this is a very wise decision, and we have handed over this responsibility to the Joint Director. And I tell you, after this responsibility handed over to these technical people of factory and industrial department, lot many preventive activities have taken place, and many accidents have been prevented, and we are not able to see now any major accident in construction industry. Now, with this background, we'll go into that applicability of this act, where this Building and Other Construction Workers Act will be applicable. See, the establishment in which 10 or more workers are engaged in construction activities. So this act will be applicable there. Even for housing buildings, if we are having more than 10 employees or 10 workers are engaged, so this act will apply. So the legislation provides regulating the employment, conditions of service, safety and health. So safety in the sense, when you are going for construction activities with a certain level of heights, what are all the safe and protections have to be given in order to avoid or prevent accident to take place. Scaffold holding and net, preparing net, and if any thing falling from a top, how it should be protected, and what are all the special equipments or personal protective equipments to be given to the workers involved. So all these things are mentioned in this safety and health related activities. So these are all the things to be supervised by the Joint Director, and the respective industry inspectors will visit. And there is a provision in this act that you have to have safety engineer, and beyond certain number of employees are working in that, the safety policy to be evolved, and safety policy have to be implemented with the right spread. So all these things brought under the legislation provisions, and which has given lot of recognition for this safety and health related activity of the workers involved in that. So it provides lot of safe environment and safe working condition for the workers to work. Next slide. So what is the responsibility of the employer? In this, the Act has defined employer, whoever gives job for 10 or more workers, he becomes the employer. So in other words, the promoter is one employer, and he will be giving various jobs to various people, And all these contractors will engage if when they are engaging more than 10 employees or 10 workers. So they also are defined as employer, and they should also go and register in the BOCW Act. So they also become the employer. So in one particular working site, you will be having, depending upon the number of contractors given, you will be having 100 or 70 or 50 employees will be there. So this is directly focusing on each and every aspects of the employment, and it gives a registration for these employers. So when you employ, whether you are a contractor or the direct employer, if you engage more than 10 workers, you have to go and register. So for that, registration fees is there, and it should be personally submitted or through the register post before commencing or within 10 days of commencement. The registration has to be there. Now I'll put this slide in the point of question and answer, so that in this particular presentation, I go as per the practical aspects of this act. So more as a question and answer will be more explained in nature to the students like you. And there are certain things you have to take note of it. There are certain things you just read it or just keep it in your mind when you are going into the field of construction, where you may become a manager of HR implementing all these rules. That time all these things will help you. So what is the minimum number of building workers to whom the certificate of registration is required? That is 10 in number. I told you the 10 in number. The registration fees is given. It may vary when you become a professional in this field, or when you become HR, maybe these fees may change. So what is the mode of payment? Then it is a DD. And in whose favor? Assistant Commissioner Labor, Central, if it is a central, and if it is directly in the state government, the Joint Director, BOCW Act, he should be addressed and the DD should be taken in favor of it. What are all the documents to be attached? The registration form will talk about the approval. Next slide. Approval and various commencement of agreement, and how many workers you have to have, and for each and every number of workers the fees may change. So when the work will start, when it will end, what is the nature of, if you are a contractor, what is the nature of your work, and when that work will start and when that work will end. So all these particulars, all these details will be available in the form 1, and that has to be filled, and it should be paid along with the DD. And within 30 days time, the registration will be given. If you are not able to receive registration in 30 days time, automatically it is considered that registration is given to you. So what are all the notices you have to put up in the place? So the abstract of the act has to be given in display. Notice showing rates of wages and period of wages. The rates of wages, it is with reference to the minimum wages. With reference to the minimum wages. So every aspect or every employment or every designation is given minimum wages recommended by the Tamil Nadu government. So that wages has to be displayed, and every worker who's getting engaged in this particular work spot, he should know what is the minimum wages prevailing at this rate, and he should also has got the right to demand that wages. And wage period. See, normally wage period for the monthly salary it is 30 days, but for the construction workers it is Daily wages and wage disbursement will take place in weekly. Wage disbursement may take place on fortnightly and monthly also. So that should also be mentioned whether weekly payment is delivered or fortnightly payment or monthly payment. So that should also be described in that notice. A date of payment of wages, so that has to be mentioned. And hours of work. So if you are having a shift system, you have to mention morning shift or afternoon shift, hours it is there, and the hours of work, how many hours a person can work, and beyond that hours of work, the overtime payment has to be there. So hours of work, now it is defined 8 hours and up to 9 hours you can work, and beyond 9 hours, a person has to be given overtime. And for a week, he has to work 48 hours. And if you are working for more than 48 hours, you have to get that overtime wages. And the person, the joint director or his representative who is there in that area, his name and address has to be very clearly mentioned in the notice board itself. Place of time of disbursement of wages. So where you will disperse the wages. And in this, uh, in that particular accident, I told you know that 2013 11-story building collapsed. The wage disbursement, time and place, everything was inside that construction building itself. It was not away from the construction building. And that is why when the incident took place, most of the people came for getting their salary also buried alive. So it was a very sad incident. So the place and time of disbursement of wages, because not only workers, the people who are not working on that particular day will also come to collect the wages. So it should, if it is away from the work spot, away from the construction, this accident would have been much reduced, and loss of life would have been much reduced. But it didn't take place. It was a fateful day, and it was a major tragedy occurred in our Tamil Nadu construction industry. Okay, anyway, that was the incident provoked me to get into the research on these subjects. Okay. Copy and subject of registration has to be provided, and copy of health safety policy. I told you the safety policy has to be evolved if you are having more than 500 workers engaged in that. So the policy has to be approved and policy has to be put in place so that everyone should come understand what is the safety policy says and what are all the precautions they have to make while they are working on the field. Okay. What are the welfare amenities to be provided to workmen? So if you look at this the welfare amenities, these are all very, very rudimentary, very normal nature, and but that is what is being expected, and that is given in the act welfare thing. And I have side by side, I have mentioned the section and rule, the fixing hours of work. The fixing hours of work, whether it is a morning shift or afternoon shift, when they will come, when they will go. So this is the fixing hours. And the fixing hours is talking about per day work 8 hours, and beyond 9 hours, if you are working, you have to get that overtime. So normal working hours is 8 hours a day and 48 hours a week. Oh. Before. Sorry. No, previously. Wait. Oh. So no continuous work. So you can provide work up to 8 hours. No, you cannot provide up to 8 hours. You have to necessarily give the break to the worker, and it should not go beyond 5 hours. And if you are providing beyond 5 hours, you have to give necessary rest, interval rest, and lunch or any other tea break. So it has to be given at least for half an hour. No person should be allowed to work continuously beyond 5 hours. Yes. And no spread over. See, I told you 9 hours, minimum 9 hours a day. Beyond that, your overtime will start. But at whatever may be the circumstances, a spread over should not be there beyond 12 hours on any day. More than 9 hours a day and 48 hours a week, overtime should be given at the double the rate. Double the rate of wages, it should be given. Normally, I'm also telling how it is affecting in the industry. Many times the people are given salary on the basis of the piece rate and daily rated. And this overtime, they are just overlooking on that, and they are saying that overtime is not given. Overtime is not there, and people are allowed to work on the piece rate basis. So they are getting the protection under the piece rate method, and they are not giving the overtime wages to the employees. What are all the registers? Say this overtime rule is 235 and weekly rest. Weekly rest has to be given. No person should be allowed to work beyond 6 days continuously, and seventh day has to be a full rest day for 24 hours. For any emergency, if he is asked to come and work on the seventh day, first thing is overtime wages has to be given, and the rest has to be given within 3 days' time. In other words, continuously a person should not work for beyond 10 days. The 10th day has to be a full rest day. What are all the registers here the employer has to maintain? The master roll, wages register, deduction registers, overtime register. So these are all the registers prescribed, and they have to provide, they have to take care of it. The annual form in 25 has to be sent to the industrial safety person before 31st January, so that the year-end statistics, year-end, what are how many people worked, what was the medical benefits available to them, and how many women employee were there, how many men employee worked, and is there any maternity leave provided. So all these things will be verified through this annual return submitted. And there is a prohibition of employment for the construction workers, the people who are not physically fit or physically well, this thing. So preventive medical checkup, they will find out, and they will not be given a job opportunity here. Most important thing is people who are having the problem in hearing, so they will not be given a job in this. So these are all the people who are prohibited, and the people who are having already wheezing problem, so they will not be given a job employment in this. So what are all the other welfare facilities provided in these provisions of this act? Drinking water and toilet, urinals, washrooms separately for women worker and male worker, and the running water has to be there. Then if you are engaging more number of interstate migrant workers, the accommodation has to be provided. So the shelter has to be provided for these construction workers. So normally the construction activities will take place in a remote places. So the shelter or the housing facility will not be there. So in this provision, accommodation has to be provided to the workers so that they will have proper rest in them. And beyond 30 women worker or engaged, the crush has to be provided. But if you go and see many places, you will not see this crush because the provision itself says the baby should be given proper protection and they should be away from the 500 meters away from the work spot. So for a woman worker taking care of this baby every time walking up and down 500 meters, it is not practically possible. So many women worker, they are not bringing the children, and because of that non-availability of children, the crush itself is not provided to many work sites. And first aid facilities, every place of work should have proper first aid equipments or first aid room has to be available. And beyond 500 workers, there should be a separate ambulance room, properly proper male nurse or female nurse have to be appointed. The ambulance should be maintained in a well-lit way. So in case any injury or any accident takes place, this ambulance will be utilized to take the injured person to the hospital in shortest time possible. So this is also available in this Act provisions. Canteen. Canteen, this is the recent development, the 100 or more workers or recent development. Now at present, it is only the 250 workers. If 250 workers are there, they will go for the canteen. The canteen has to be maintained in a proper, decent manner so that the people will come and eat. And the canteen should be run on non-profit motive. The place should be provided by the employer, and all other facilities, cooking facilities should be provided by the employer. If you are having the canteen contractor, the canteen contractor can come and use all these things, and he can put the price only on the basis of non-profit motive. He has to fix the price. So this is about the canteen facilities. I've already spoken about these registers. What are all the registers the employer has to maintain? So these are all the registers. The equal remuneration register is a very important register, and the equal remuneration register will speak about how many women worker and how many male worker are working in the same category of employment. If the same category of employment, both female and male are engaged, there should not be any disparity in the salary aspect of it or wages aspect of it. So this is one important register has to be maintained, and it will be scrutinized. No, previous slide. Okay. Now, along with this, I would like to touch upon the recent changes. That's all. Recent changes. Now, this BOCW Act is going to be merged along with the two other acts. The two other acts, one is Factories Act, another one is the Mines Act. So they are going to call this Code of Occupational Health and Safety Act, and that is going to come into operation in another 2 years' time, because the bill is already introduced in the parliament, and henceforth the building and other construction activities will also be viewed along with the Factories Act and Mines Act. So what are all the advantages of these things when it is merged? See, now Factory Act is defined separately as a Factory Act, and BOC Act is defined as a BOC Act. But if any construction activity is taking place inside the factory, the BOCW Act will not be applicable to them. Only the Factories Act will be applicable. Now, because of merging of all these acts into one or one code, if a factory is after defining factory also, if construction activities are taking place, the construction, building and other construction activities will also go into the aspect of it, and the same type of protection will be given. So the difference is, if it is the factory, inside the factory, if the construction activities are going on, so all these construction workers will be given ESI facilities also. If something happens to them, the ESI will come into the play. Similarly, when the acts are merged, the leave facilities, what is available in factory side, the same thing is also extended to the BOCW Act workers. Say, for example, the earn leave, which is given for every 20 days work, worker will get 1 day as a earned leave in the factory side. Now, because of this merger, construction workers will also get 1 day wages, 1 day leave for every 20 days he worked. In other words, these construction workers and migrant workers have got the tendency of going and visiting their native place once in 6 months. So once in 6 months, when they go, they will go with empty hand. With their salary earned during that 6 months only, they will go. Now, when they leave for the native place, they can take 9 days extra salary with them to go and enjoy their leave or the facility with their family. So this is another advantage for the construction workers when the code is merged with the Factories Act. And other protections, now they are thinking of merging this Provident Fund also and ESI also for this BOCW employee workers. Earlier also the ESI introduced ESI for the construction workers, but the construction industry people, they had gone for stay in that. Now it is under stay because it is not removed yet. The ESI announced, so you don't make any contributions to us and we will not give any facilities to us. The status quo maintained and the people are not getting any ESI benefits at present. So unless this code is approved and code comes into the play, then maybe the construction workers will also gain ESI thing. And my opinion on this is the construction workers, when they are coming into the ESI, they need not be getting any deduction in their salary to gain these benefits. So let them be enjoying something like an amount is paid for them. So they will gain these medical facilities because the welfare aspect of these construction workers, I told you earlier, it is given to the Construction Workers Welfare Board. The Construction Workers Welfare Board has to take care of these employees off-site welfare. That is, it has to take care of the family, and they have to provide women education encouragement. They provide scholarship, and they are giving medical checkups. And in case if any accidents takes place to the construction workers, the Construction Workers Welfare Board taking care of the family through proper pension, and these construction workers will given this if anything happens to them, the solution is announced. Normally, when something happens, the government is announcing 5 lakh or 3 lakh or 4 lakh to the people. Loss, the family is given that type of amount. So that will be taken care by this Construction Workers Welfare Board. The Construction Workers Welfare Board provides training to the spouses of the construction workers. Something like tailoring, something like computer training. So many small vocational trainings are provided to the spouses of these construction workers. So this construction workers welfare board takes care of all these benefits. But one important thing, since I'm a scholar and studied this thing, I tell you, this construction workers welfare board is not known to many of the construction workers or the migrant laborers. Migrant laborers can register in Construction Workers Welfare Board. The registration formality is very simple and not even fee is collected for that. Once you are registering, it is valid for 5 years. But in spite of all these things, the construction workers, especially migrant workers, they are not going and registering it. So if these people are not going, the Construction Welfare Board has to go to the members and get registered. Then only the benefits will uh, follow through and they will get these benefits. So with this, I have touched upon the BOC Act introduction, how it came into the existence of Tamil Nadu, and how the safety and health aspects of it provided and taken care by this act. How this the Construction Workers Welfare Board is taking care of these welfare aspects of the workers, our workers and migrant workers. And when it is going to be merged along with the code, how the benefits are going to come. In all these things, I have dealt with it. So now I open for discussion and questions. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for an illuminating lecture covering almost all the aspects related to the construction workers. You have given an in-depth knowledge for the students who are going to take up who are going to take up the HR field, and also who are working in the HR, and also who are specialized in the HR field, because now the construction is again booming up. The real estate and other things are going up, right? And many people have been employed. Many constructions, real estate owners are employing HR as an employee, like Acropole and the other, the L&T and other peoples are employing the HR as a major thing. So they have to take care of this particular thing, right? So the HR students know, so they should take care of all those things. Now it is open for discussion. You can, I think, very less number. You can unmute and you can ask your queries. Just before that, you introduce yourself and then ask your queries. Maybe another, can we have for another 10 to 15 minutes, sir? Is it okay for you, or so another
I'm
10 minutes?
agreeable.
Okay, another 10 minutes we can give, 10 minutes we can give for discussion. So kindly you can directly contact, in touch with Francis Edition, rather than putting in a chat box. You can directly ask. Before that, you introduce yourself and then you can ask.
Morning, sir.
Good
Sir?
morning.
Myself, Niveka, sir. MSW. I'm studying MSW in Bharathidasan University, sir. Sir?
Yeah, Niveta, carry on.
Sir, is there any salient feature of this act, sir? Any amendment of this act, sir? Construction Act. Is there any amendment?
At present, they are coding it along with the Factories Act. So the recent development is that whatever amendments they are suggesting in the act, it has already given in the code of occupational health and safety code. So if you are going through the code of occupational safety health 2020, these amendments, I told there are certain developments taking place in BOC Act. These developments have been given a fight in the code. The code is Occupational Safety and Health Code 2020.
Okay, sir.
You can download and see.
Okay, sir. Is there any providential fund is providing to the construction employees?
Yeah, even now also the Provident Fund scheme is available for them, and they can make use of it. That the Provident Fund scheme is right now available for all construction workers.
Okay, sir. What are the welfare measures provided by their families, sir?
Yes, if they are say if they are the local construction workers, there is no family benefits except the construction welfare board providing some benefits. That benefits are taking care of them in their vocational training or giving scholarship to the children, those who are studying. So these are all the aspects. If something happens to the worker and the construction welfare board providing pension to them. And earlier it was introduced, the ESI introduced, and if the ESI is there, the entire family can get medical facility, medical benefit. But now the ESI is ready to provide these facilities to the construction workers, but construction workers, the employers, gone to the stay. The stay is maintained in the court. Unless the stay is vacated, the ESI benefits will not come to the families of construction workers, and they cannot get any medical facilities as of now.
During this pandemic situation, only 50 to 100 employees only engaged in work, no, sir? How it is useful, whether it is useful or it is being a problem or issues?
No, during pandemic, they have not given any opportunity. The work was standstill. They did not do any work. Only after June 16th, they started working, and those people who are available, they started working. And because of that uncertainty prevailed immediately after the announcement of lockdown, the people went away. They did not stay. And this is one of the reasons why people have gone to their native places, because the uncertainty prevailed. Nobody knew at that time how many days you will be there or how many days this lockdown will be there, and who will protect, who will give work, who will give salary, and who will take care of them. And all these things were not answered at that time. So that is the thing made these people to leave the places. Now, when they started, they did not have any workforce. So they will start in a slow manner only, even 50 or 100 allowed, and that 50 and 100 were not coming to the work. Those people who stayed, the construction workers, that too interstate migrant workers who did not go to their native place, they only available and they only started the construction work activities.
Thank you, sir.
What about others, other first year, second year students? especially HR students are there. You should pose more questions because Niveka is from first year MSW. We are happy that she has raised a very pertinent questions. I think that HR students also should raise some questions. Yeah, please.
Feel free. Say, I am your only senior.
What happened? No HR students or other students also can ask, not only for HR, but it is a general topic, right? Where you can do your research in future, and almost construction is going on everywhere. We can see, right? So whenever you come across these things, you can just you can ask them. You can do a case studies like that. It will be much helpful to make the comparison of how they act and and the practices that is going on, right? You can make a comparison of this, right? Whatever things in the act, you can go and witness because in your nearby places, lot of constructions might be going on. So with the act, and you can just try to compare with how they are able to justify or how they are putting into practice of this act. So that can be also done. Please go ahead. எல்லாம் மௌனமா இருக்கீங்க. தமிழ்ல கேட்கறனால கேளுங்க. சார் இருக்கிறார் என்ன, அதனால அச்சப்பட வேண்டாம், வெட்கப்பட வேண்டாம். தைரியமாக உங்கள் கேள்விகளை எழுப்பலாம். தமிழில தூய தமிழ்ல எழுப்பணும் தேவையில்ல, சாதா தமிழ்ல கூட உங்களுடைய கேள்விகளை எழுப்பலாம். Nirmala madam wants to, I think madam is online.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Francis Edison, sir, your presentation was very clear with the question and answer method you have presented. It was well explained. And sir, what would be your suggestion to sensitize the construction workers about the need and significance of registering themselves in the construction workers welfare board? Because it is very nice that there is a separate board for the welfare of the construction workers, but they are not aware of it. So what would be your suggestion with your experience in the field? What would you like to say? That is one thing. And the second one is during this pandemic period, we are talking about wearing mask is safety for the for our own health. So what about these workers, their work spot, are they not forced or instructed to wear mask, or not wearing mask is safety for them? These are two questions I have, sir.
Right. Thank you, Doctor. In fact, yesterday the suggestions I have given, and the same thing I can narrate it now. And regarding that registration part of it, nobody is serious. From the research point of view, when I collected information, the welfare board is available, but almost 80% of the people do not aware of that and how to get the benefits. The construction welfare board, one of the very well thought of welfare board for Tamil Nadu. Much before other states thought about it, நம்ம ஸ்டேட்ல அந்த வெல்ஃபேர் போர்டு started functioning. ஆனா இவ்வளவு ஃபெசிலிட்டிஸ், தட் இஸ் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் ஃபீஸ் வேண்டாம், ஒரு தடவை ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணா 5 yearsக்கு அந்த ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் வேலிடிட்டி இஸ் தேர். அவங்க வந்து மெடிக்கல் ஃபெசிலிட்டி கொடுக்குறாங்க, மெடிக்கல் செக்அப் கொடுக்குறாங்க, ஃபேமிலிக்கு இந்த பெனிஃபிட் கொடுக்குறாங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னா கூட இவங்க போய் அதை வந்து ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்றது இல்லை. It is a simple form, and even now also it is not yet made online. If it is made online, then it may be easily available for them. But somebody should take care of it. Now the employer is not interested whether these people are registered there or not. They are ready to give job, and construction worker board says unless they come and register, we cannot extend any benefits to them. So it is in this situation it is there. So that is why some arrangement or government instruction should be there to all these construction employers, at least who are all registered under BOC Act employers. They have to ask them to produce a statement every fortnight. These are all the employees are working in the construction site. And based on that, the Construction Welfare Board should register their names, because now I have found out all these construction workers are having identity to show. They are having voter ID, they are having bank account, they are having voter ID, they are having Aadhaar card details. So all these pertinent identifications are available. If any one of these identity, they have to take and they have to register it in by the Construction Welfare Board. If that is done in a normal way, all these people will start getting the benefit. Now nobody is insisting on that. So because it is not insisted, these people are uneducated, they don't want to go on register it. So this is the prevailing condition. With reference to the personal protective equipment, now all the safety aspect of the BOC Act says personal protective equipments to be distributed and it should be insisted to wear. So now they are giving goggle, helmet, safety shoes, and mask. Mask is provided by all the contractors, and all the employees now they are using it. See, I went during this pandemic season only. I went and collected my samples, sample collections. I went. All these people are given masks, and they are wearing, and they are doing the work.
Okay,
Thanks
sir.
for
Thank you, sir. Because near my house, in 4 or 5 places, construction work is going on, but no one is wearing any mask. So that is why I had a question. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
If at all, no question, is there any other question? Otherwise, we'll wind up the session.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yes, sir. Now, may I request our dynamic guest faculty and Dr. Selvamani, who is the great pillar of our department, who is taking care of many things. And I know that Francis Edison will also agree with me that he has been helping the department for doing a lot of particularly when we conduct this kind of webinar. And he is the person who is able to just coordinate and do a very excellent work, and also with other aspects related to the department also. And now may I request our dynamic faculty, Dr. Selvamani, to propose the vote of thanks.
Yesterday I personally told Dr. Selvamani his contributions to the department. Now I am recording it. He has done a wonderful job, and he is becoming a pillar of the department, especially in the technical aspects of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely.
A warm welcome, Maru, to our head of the department and chief guests and professors and research scholars and first year and second year MSc students and various colleagues participated, professors and students, my dear friends and everyone. gathering here. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks and acknowledgement the contribution of those who are working to make this vessel like that. And on behalf of our department, I extend a real hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Mr. S. Francis Edition, Managing Director at Digital Solution Private Limited, Chennai, who was sparing the time from the busy schedule to gathering grace occasion. Today we are in opportunity to getting here your thought like your recent development of building and other construction activities in various aspects of uh, safety, welfare and wage system and hours of working and 730-degree angle of discussing and gathering. It's very useful from the beginning research scholars in the future event. Thank you, sir. And I also extend my hearty thanks to Dr. R. Mangaleswaran, sir, Professor and Head, Department of Social Work, and Professor P. Ilago, sir, and Dr. J. U. Derida Dansu Elju, ma'am, and Dr. P. Nirmala, ma'am, and Dr. N. Rajavel, sir, and Dr. M. Suresh Kumar, sir, and Dr. R. Karthikeyan, sir. There is a support and motivated in the beginning out of this successful program. I should be like to thank to the people who are working in background of screen of the job, our invitation and designing work, Mr. L. Leone, a field scholar, and our technical team, Mr. John Milton, PhD research scholar, and Mr. Tugal Jodi, social work guide. And last but not least, a big thank to and each one who are mad participate in this special lecture. And special thanks to our first MSW and second MSW student and research scholar, the support and getting the successful program. And thank you to all once again. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. We can start.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.